So Skip Bayless was on a podcast, and the question came up about his time with Shannon Sharpe, why Shannon Sharpe exit Fox Sports 1 and Undisputed, and the recent comments coming from Shannon Sharpe. Basically, Shannon Sharpe is claiming about Skip Bayless. He felt like Skip Bayless was disrespecting him, and everyone knows the incident in question when the topic came up about Tom Brady. And Shannon Sharpe talking about how Tom Brady isn't as good as he used to be. I didn't think, and I watched Undisputed front to back for like 7 or 8 years. And normally Shannon Sharpe, and I always had this theory about Shannon Sharpe. When it comes to LeBron James, and to let the naysayers or the world out there know how great LeBron James is, Shannon Sharpe will make it very convenient to tear down someone else's legacy and someone else's career to build up LeBron James' legacy and LeBron James' career. And I felt like, that was not needed. I felt like if you just would have stick to the stats, if you would have stick to things that are undisputed, you couldn't really, say that was right, or you couldn't say that was, you couldn't say that was wrong when you check a person on their stats. I felt like if he would have just kept it kept it cordial like that, it would have been no issue. But throughout the duration of Undisputed, Shannon Sharpe would, take his toll on a lot of people's legacies and a lot of people's careers that are already cemented. They can't go back on the football field, or they can't go back on the basketball court to add more substance to their legacy and to their career. And that's the only issue I had about Shannon Sharpe. And, and particularly this incident when they were on the Tom Brady comment, I did feel like, despite what Shannon Sharpe tactics were, and I didn't respect Shannon Sharpe's tactics, it seems like Skip Bayless took a few plays from the Shannon Sharpe playbook and was tearing down. It led one to believe that he was tearing down Shannon Sharpe's legacy and Shannon Sharpe's career by trying to build up or bolster why Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. Now, Shannon Sharpe is a tight end, and I consider Shannon Sharpe in the top 5. If someone wants to say that Shannon Sharpe was maybe the top 10 greatest tight ends of all time, I'm not going to dispute it. I'm not going to really question it. It is what it is. But when you compare a tight end to a quarterback, that's like comparing to apples to oranges. All right. And I did feel like Skip Bayless was sort of out of bounds by using, your co-host's stats and career to tear his stuff down, to build up Tom Brady. It really wasn't necessary. It really wasn't needed. And I can understand why Shannon Sharpe feels a certain type of way. But at the same time, Shannon Sharpe, you have done it previous times on Undisputed, where you'll just tear down someone else's legacy, tear down someone else's career just to build up LeBron James. Okay. You've done this with Michael Jeffrey Jordan. You've done this with Kwame Brown. You have done this time and time again. And and when it comes to the NFL, he doesn't use this tactic with former and current, excuse me, guys, former or current NFL players. He would always use this tactic towards NBA players. All right, maybe because he used to play in the NFL. He doesn't want to, come off as braggadocious or, disrespectful to the NFL players, because he has to deal with them on a constant, consistent basis, former and current, and he probably want to have a relationship with those guys. And, since he's never been in the NBA, played in the NBA, he just feels like, hey, I'm going to use this tactic on the NBA players, past, present, and future. Now, I felt like that was not necessary when Shannon Sharpe does it, but it was definitely not necessary when Skip Bayless did it to, did it to Shannon Sharpe. You know, like the old adage is, it's cool when you guys do it, but when I do it, it's a problem. Okay, so I disagree with how Shannon Sharpe, disrespected players, and I definitely disagree with Skip Bayless on that recent segment with Tom Brady, how he disrespected Shannon Sharpe's legacy and career by talking about Tom Brady. But that's neither here nor there. So everyone is gravitating to that point in the time frame where, okay, this is it. Change is needed. I need to just get away from this show. I need to get away from this network. And that's easier said than done. But to me, I clearly gave you guys a blueprint on why things happened the way they were. I think Fox Sports 1, this was a Fox Sports 1 decision. This was definitely not a Skip Bayless decision. Certainly not a Shannon Sharpe decision. There was not placating to one or the other. Fox Sports 1 was looking at this in a business point of view. And it was looking at it like this. And I've said, and I'm going to chop it up real fast. Look, why max these two guys out with salaries? And Undisputed would have been the second or third best show on sports entertainment. Okay? Why do that? They're never going to beat ESPN because ESPN has more longevity. First Take, ESPN and First Take has more longevity. They have more people that follow them. They're in more televisions in every household. Everyone gravitates to ESPN and everyone gravitates to First Take. First Take was beating Undisputed in the head like a drum when he had Shannon Sharpe. And why max these two guys out when you're only going to be the second or third best show behind First Take? That's first and foremost. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Secondly, Fox Sports 1, I felt like they had a new ideal on how they was going to do business. They were not going to get the front pages. They normally started hiring from the back pages, hiring personalities from the radio world. Fox Sports 1 is not looking for the Pat McAfees or the Shannon Sharpes or the Stephen A. Smiths or the Charles Barkleys. They're getting the unknown talent entities to come work for Fox Sports 1. Sure, they have Nick Wright, they have Joy Taylor, they have Emmanuel Acho, they have Colin Cowherd for now, and they're good with what they have as far as their shows. They know in the long run, these shows are not going to resonate to the viewers out there. These shows are not going to dethrone First Take, Sports Center, the 6 p.m. Sports Center, PTI, all of those shows. They're going to be stepping stones. Fox Sports 1 shows are going to be stepping stones to ESPN shows. All right? So they are, Fox Sports 1 knows that they're the stepchild of sports entertainment. They're never going to dethrone anything ESPN is putting out, and they're not going to outbid for talent to come to Fox Sports 1, particularly the big name talent, because they know they're all going to gravitate to ESPN. All right? So Fox, try to say that 3 times fast. Fox Sports 1 saw their future when they agreed to a buyout with Shannon Sharpe. And they was going to ride Skip Bayless' contract until the wheels fall off, okay? I said this in a video I uploaded a couple of days ago. I felt like Skip Bayless should have left the ship while it was sinking, when you talk about Fox Sports 1, because it was going into a new direction. Skip Bayless should have pushed a little harder with his wife. Maybe, going back to ESPN is not a bad thing. Particularly ESPN wanted to promote ESPN Plus. He would have gotten paid the same amount of money he's making at Fox Sports 1. Then he would have paired up with Stephen A. Smith, and they would have had their own show on ESPN Plus. And who knows? Shannon Sharpe would probably still want to get out from under from Fox Sports One, and still do the things he's doing now for ESPN. So I felt like Skip Bayless didn't want to take that deal because of his wife. I think his wife loves the California lifestyle. Now, ESPN said, hey, you can still do Undisputed at Fox Sports 1. It's just you're doing additional content for ESPN Plus. All right? And they was going to pair him and Stephen A. Smith on the big current events like the Super Bowl, the World Series, the NBA Finals. ESPN was fine. And I think ESPN would have done a lot more to make it work. I just think Skip Bayless said to himself, look, it's going to be hard to convince my wife to get up from California to go to New York. Now, technically, she could stay in California. He can do all his live shows at New York and fly back to California. Skip Bayless is not getting any younger. He's getting older. Maybe all that traveling is he probably looked at it and say, that's not very good for me. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with my wife. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with my dog. It is what it is. I think if he had to do it all over again, and he, would have gotten all this information, if he knew the future, then he probably should have went to ESPN. He'll be already over there, and Shannon Sharpe would have already went to ESPN himself. So, I thought that this was all a business decision from Fox Sports 1. They just didn't see the value of maxing these two guys out to only have the second and third best show on sports entertainment. Okay? And we're not even talking about all the other shows in that time frame. You got The View, you got The Breakfast Club, you got all of these other entities and all of these other communities of entertainment that you're competing with. And sooner rather than later, Undisputed was never, everyone thought that this was going to be the first take killer. It's actually killing itself. And it gotten so, and a lot of people seem to forget the past 3 years of Undisputed, what they always constantly talked about: Tom Brady, the Dallas Cowboys, and LeBron James in every segment. They gotten very stale with their debate topics. Okay, that was another thing. They didn't want to change with the current environment. They didn't want to be a Pat McAfee. They didn't change like First Take changed. First Take used to be a debate show. Now First Take is like The View. It's just the debates are on the table, but it's really playful discussions and conversations. Okay, nothing too serious. This, that. Occasionally, when you do get something serious, it goes on social media. Like when Monica McNutt challenged Stephen A. Smith on how he really feels about the WNBA. So yeah, that now to Skip Bayless's point, if he feels that way, he feels that way. But the thing about it is, Skip Bayless, you have to ask yourself, does Shannon Sharpe feels that way? Was you very communicative to Shannon Sharpe, saying, hey, look, I didn't lose any respect for you. I gained more respect. But, as men, we sort of kind of, hide our, how we feel about something or how we feel about someone just to push and move on. All right. We never, after a shift or, well, in their case, after a show, get together and say, hey, what do you feel about that last topic? And, we don't necessarily, be honest or authentic on both sides of the argument. So I felt like, and people have long said that when they were doing Undisputed, you know, they didn't ever have time to rehearse. So when the show starts, Shannon Sharpe is just now getting in. Not when the show starts, when it gets into the pregame of the show, Shannon Sharpe would just now be arriving. Well, by that time, they don't have a lot of time to, talk among themselves on what they're going to talk about, what approach they're going to take. And I felt like if they would have done more of that, and you could tell in the beginning of Undisputed, they were doing that. And at sort of midway to the end of it, you can clearly tell that they were off topic. They were not in unison, or the chemistry just wasn't there on certain topics. Because Shannon Sharpe would have, Skip Bayless would have no idea where Shannon Sharpe was going to go to, and likewise. So, yeah, if people still want to believe that Skip Bayless got Shannon Sharpe off Undisputed, fine. You're not going to convince those people. And there's a small percentage of people that feel like Shannon Sharpe got fired from Fox Sports 1. You're not going to convince them either way with that either. Okay, so to me, this was all Fox Sports 1's doing. They just didn't want to max these two guys out to be the second and third best show. All right. So he said one more thing. Excuse me, guys. I'm just coming back from a cold. Your boy, for the past 3 or 4 days, I have been under the weather. I do apologize. But Skip Bayless said something interesting about his why he left the show. And he said his heart was not into the show. And I could tell something was odd about Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, with that first year without Shannon Sharpe, Skip Bayless was the moderator. And I thought that was super, super weird, okay? And that first show, everybody was talking but Skip Bayless. They had too many mouthpieces on Undisputed's first show. And I thought it was good, but I also said that they needed to refine that, and maybe, instead of having them all there, maybe like on Mondays and Tuesdays, had Michael Irvin and Skip Bayless and Richard Sherman. And then the rest of the days have Keyshawn, a mixture of Keyshawn, Skip Bayless, and Richard Sherman if he's available, or, get Michael Irvin. Just having them all there, it was just total chaos. And you was not even allowed, and Skip Bayless wasn't even allowed to even say anything. And I also felt like they needed a moderator. They needed a new moderator. Okay? I want to say, when they went this route, I want to say that had something to do with Skip Bayless. Because the previous moderators were very favorable to Shannon Sharpe. And I'm thinking, on the outside looking in, Skip Bayless is thinking, okay, I'm not getting another moderator so they can get cozy with the people that I'm debating. And now, I got to deal with what the moderator is doing. And now I got to deal with my co-host perspective. Let me be the moderator so I can control the tempo. I can control the narratives and things of that nature. Plus, I can be able to say what I wanted to say. I think that was Skip Bayless' mindset. I don't know if that was Skip Bayless' decision, or Fox Sports 1 decision, or a combination of both of them. Sorry about the noise in the background. But in the beginning, you could tell, after a month of it, and I'm gonna be real with you guys, after 3 shows, you can tell Skip Bayless just left the room. Skip Bayless was just mailing it in from this point forward. He knew that, and we knew that, obviously they're not going to replace Shannon Sharpe. And the only person that you can replace where you still get the viewership is another Shannon Sharpe. And unfortunately, there's only one Shannon Sharpe, and he's at ESPN. Now, I also talked about the possibility of them maybe getting Jaylen Rose. See if, because you got Richard Sherman, and Richard Sherman and Skip Bayless was beefing like beefaroni. Why not Jaylen Rose? Why not Max Kellerman? Max Kellerman was under contract with ESPN. He still wanted to get paid by ESPN. So we all knew why Max Kellerman couldn't make it, all right? I even made a video saying that if I was Fox Sports 1, I would give whatever I have to give to get Charles Barkley and Skip Bayless on Undisputed. I know a lot of people are disagreeing with me, but just hold up, wait a minute, let me put some pimping in it, okay? That would be must-see TV. And that show, Undisputed, if they still would call it Undisputed, will get more ratings than First Take. It will clearly, on social media, they'll be talking about this show. Free advertisement. Now, I don't know if Skip Bayless got enough Advil, because he's going to be getting headaches galore. But that would have been must-see TV. They probably would have to pay Charles Barkley twice or three times more than what they're paying Skip Bayless. But yeah, that would excite Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless loves challenges, all right? So yeah, clearly that would be must-see TV. But Fox Sports 1 was not going that way. They were not going to, you know what? We're just going to get another big-time star to replace Shannon Sharpe. Instead, they got some C's and B's and possibly some D's try to replace an A-plus star. And that's what they did, and that's why they failed. And that's why Skip Bayless's heart wasn't necessarily into it, all right? So, yeah, I understand, and my mom always says this, there's three sides to the truth: your truth, their truth, and the actual truth. I don't think we're going to ever know the actual truth, okay? But I think the decisions were not decisions made by Skip Bayless or Shannon Sharpe. It was Fox Sports 1, okay? So I still believe that. I read a lot of articles, saw a lot of videos, people saying otherwise. I just don't see the connections in a lot of people's theories, but hey, it is what it is. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.